Hi chess fans, welcome to Better Moves. In this position, white to move. White has a comfortable position. The black pieces are a little bit cramped, whereas white pieces are already nice and active. And in this position here, white is considering playing rook e1 with the idea of creating a threat of taking this pawn and also a pin on the king. Have a look at this position. Why is this not a good idea? And what might be a better idea for white in this position? Okay, what's wrong with rook e1? Well, as we have already seen, black is a bit worse here. The king is in the center and the pieces are either not active or not coordinating so well. For example, this bishop is blocked by these pawns and bound to stop this pawn here. This rook is not really playing. This knight is dominated by this pawn. So white arguably has a little dynamic advantage here. And white would love to use this advantage. And after rook fe1, black has the opportunity to play rook c1. Rook has to retake. Bishop takes knight. Knight has to retake. f5. And have a look at this position. Suddenly these pawns are quite active. And the knight has a nice way to get into the game. Before, this square was blocked. And here was a pawn, so the knight couldn't get into the game. And now suddenly the knight has this nice square to get into the game. And after b4, attempting to restrict this bishop, knight f7, black has managed to exchange a few pieces, and suddenly his pieces look a lot more active. This knight is suddenly playing in the game. The bishop is controlling the entry square for the rook, which makes this rook a lot worse, or at least this half-open fire. This knight is caged in by these pawns. If this pawn is actually strong or weak, has to be shown. And black's position, as compared to here, has improved a lot. And what did black do here? White has a dynamic advantage and black exchanged some pieces to activate his pieces and thereby improving his position. And this is something, if you are playing with white in this position, you never want to allow. You never want to allow, if you are having a little bit of a pressure and you have a dynamic advantage, you never want to allow your opponent any opportunity to release the pressure. So if white wants to play this pin idea, believe it or not, it's actually better to play rook ce1 so as to not allow this idea. But white has even a better resource here. And to find this resource, you want to think about any threats that white could create. So rook fe1 was creating the threat of knight takes, but the problem is you have to react to rook takes. White here has the resource knight h4, also creating a threat of knight f5, check, attacking both the king and this pawn, and also this bishop, if the king moves to protect this pawn. And it makes sense, if you have seen that black has this plan to exchange here, it makes sense if you calculate a move like this as a candidate move to see what would happen if black now takes. It turns out black cannot simplify anymore in this position, because after knight f5 check, the black king is attacked with check. The black king can move only here, here, or to the squares, down here. So let's have a look. rook f8, ends up losing a piece. We take the rook, the bishop is attacked, and the bishop already doesn't have so many squares, so if the bishop goes to e7, knight takes, king takes, and the rook invades, and if the king now moves away, the rook is attacking this knight, which is so uncoordinated and doesn't have any square, and black will lose the knight in the next move. And if in this position king d6, knight c4 check, look how all the pieces get very active, king takes, rook c5 check, and now a double attack on the king and on the bishop. So this would happen if the king moves away. If the king moves up to attack the knight, white has this knight check, and if king takes the knight, the bishop is taken with check, and white retakes the rook, and you can see that white's pieces are much more active than black's pieces. King e7, check, and white has a lot of nasty threats here. White is threatening to attack this f7 pawn, and black already has to give the exchange here. And if in this position king d7, or excuse me, if in this position here king d7, then black also loses material. Rook takes, this pawn on g7 is hanging, so g6, knight takes, check with the knight, and in this position here white is threatening to attack the rook and the king, and if the rook moves here, it is also won. If the rook moves up, gives up control of the knight, and black loses material. So after rook c1, how can you calculate all this? Well, you just calculate forcing moves. After knight f5, the king can only move to a few squares, and you are calculating the forcing moves. And this is what is necessary to see that in this position it's better to play knight h4. And if in this position white does not take with the rook, but for example tries to prevent white to get to the f5 square, for example king f6 runs immediately into a lot of the tactical motives that we have seen before. G6 has the problem that the bishop can be attacked, and white is simply in the end able to win this bishop, or at least get a strong position here. And probably the best is to play bishop g4, but this bishop can be attacked, and now white keeps on attacking and has the idea of opening up the king position. If black now rook takes, the point is that black cannot take here because of the open file, and white is able to win material. And you can see in this position here that white's pieces are very active, while he has managed to keep black's pieces very passive. Now, all of these variations is something you don't necessarily have to calculate, but the learning that we can take from this position is, if white has a dynamic advantage, white has to push this dynamic advantage. We might not like it, we might say this is all computer lines, but you have to find sharp lines. If you're thinking about a move like rook fe1, you have to be aware that black is just a few easy moves away from equalizing, and if you have fought so hard to get this position where black's pieces are a little bit worse, you have to press the advantage and try to look for these tactical opportunities. Okay, let's have a look at the next position. In this position, black to move. Black attempts or considers the move bishop takes c3, so that after queen takes, b takes, white has a weak pawn here that black can then attack. What do you think about this move? Why is it actually a bad move? And what might be a better move in this position? Okay, let's have a look. If bishop takes, and let's say queen takes, b takes 3, it's true, white has these weak pawns here. But how does black attack these pawns now? If black, for example, now develops and says, okay, I'm happy that white has this weakness, so I'm going to develop, then white can immediately play c4. And have a look at this position. Black has created a weakness, but white can immediately get rid of this weakness. If now black continues to develop, he even gets into trouble really fast. And black has just lost a pawn and the bishop pair is unleashed, the rooks get super active, and it turns out this c3 pawn is in this position actually not a weakness, but it's a strength. It helps white to lever up black's center. Okay, so if black wants to cement this weakness by playing b5 against c4, white has a4 as an additional lever, and if black takes here, white can again play c4, and if instead black ignores a4, well then black will simply lose a pawn here and will be worse. So b5 does not work, and so that's why bishop takes c3 is actually not such a good idea. But can black somehow still play with this idea? The answer is yes, of course. A better move would be to simply develop knight e7, and the whole idea of creating a weakness here and maintaining this pin still stays in this position. The only difference is that if white now plays f6, say, g takes, e takes, knight g6, and if now white, for example, plays a3, now black can again create this weakness here, but now black can play knight e5, and the knight controls the c5, the c4 square, and actually makes this pawn a weakness. And now black has good ways to attack this weakness in the next move. And of course, white does not have to play f6 here, it's one of his main plans, but the game continues from here. If, for example, rook h f1, black can now play b5, again preparing this plan of creating a weakness. The knight does not run away because the queen is pinned behind it. And now again, this plan is very strong because white has these pawn weaknesses and it makes sense to give up the bishop for this. Okay, so what we can learn from this position is that creating a weakness is valuable, but it's only as valuable as long as you can fix it. As we have seen here, black cannot fix this weakness and then the c-pawn actually serves immediately as a lever. Okay, let's have a look at the next position. In this position, white to move. Let's have a quick look what's going on. White is in exchange up. Black only has one rook. White has two rooks. And in return, white has 6 pawns and black has 7 pawns. So in return, black has an extra pawn. So white has the exchange for the pawn. And in this position, white is now thinking about playing rook ac1, putting the rook on the half open file, and consolidating his position, and then playing with this advantage that he has. Okay, have a look at this position and think about why this might be not such a good move and what might be a better move. Okay, first of all, being an exchange up is not so much. Black already has one extra pawn, and black also has, black also has the bishop pair and this really strong knight. And White's plan should not be to consolidate and maybe improve his rook, but black has so strong pieces, white has to play against the position of these pieces. Um, at the moment, black has strong compensation with this strong knight in the bishop pair, and white needs to work on eliminating this compensation as soon as possible. So after rook a(c1), black now has the opportunity to play a5, and with a5, the knight on c5, it's very hard to ever push this knight away. If the knight goes here, it can just be taken out, and the knight cannot go here to attack this knight because of the pawn. And yeah, after a5, black has just spent one move, but it has made the position of the knight so much stronger. And now, if white plays b3, the plan of playing a3 and b4 to getting this knight away just takes so much time, and black can use this time to improve his position. And as long as this knight is here, these rooks actually have trouble finding into the game, because look at this. The rook here cannot move to any of these squares to activate himself because of the bishops, and these rooks would love to use this file to, for example, position themselves here. But it all comes back to the problem of this knight. This knight is super strong here, not only because it has a central square and takes takes care of a lot of things in the center. It also has the function of limiting the activity of the rooks. And so, positionally, rook a to c1 is a big mistake because it allows a5 and it makes the knight so strong and impenetrable. So, what might be a better move? A better move might be to play immediately b4, take advantage of the fact that black does not have any tactics here, because after knight a4, check, this would win material for white. So there is no tricks, the knight has to move away, and the knight is on a much more passive square here. And now now white can play rook a(c1), because the plan is of course the right one, to bring the rooks on this file here. It might be even, by the way, a strong resource to play bishop d5 here, and just this line. I mean, it's a very tactical line. I think the more human move is now to play rook a(c1), and the whole point was to get b4 quickly to play against the knight. And then the position could continue still with this idea, and white will quickly activate his pieces and also take advantage of the rooks. So what we can learn here is that positionally, one knight can block the activity of two rooks very effectively, and this can be strong compensation for the exchange. And after, just as if you're playing with black, if your opponent plays something like rook a(c1), you should be very happy, because you can play a5, and these two pawns make this knight so strong. And that's why white had to play b4 here. Okay, let's have a look at the next position. In this position, black to move is again an exchange up. And black is in this position, white has just taken here. Black is considering taking on h4, natural, the pawn takes, so you want to take back. But why is this maybe in this position not the best move, and what might be a better move here? Okay, let's have a look. The point is that after g takes, have a look at this position. This knight at the moment is not so good. It doesn't have good squares, and it's at the side of the board. On the other hand, this rook is also not so good. So what black wants to do is black wants to activate this rook and make sure that this knight stays passive. And the point is that after g takes h, white can play knight g4, and suddenly this knight coordinates nicely with this bishop on these pawns. So the knight attacks these pawns, the knight's also very safe here. And if this pawn ever moves forward, which seems to be an important break in this position, this pawn here becomes weak. So if, for example, black now plays king g5 with the plan of pushing this pawn, all of this becomes very difficult. And the king can already be chased. And have a look at this position. Suddenly the knight moved as compared to the initial position. Suddenly the knight moved towards the center of the board, while this rook still doesn't have any space to play. And if black tries to push e4 here, after f takes, rook takes, now white has the resource to use this knight, which is suddenly activated, and play knight h6. And you can see the king is at the moment protecting the rook. And the king cannot go here. So the king has to move up to maintain coordination with the rook, and can again be attacked by the bishop. And these moves are basically forced. And now you can see white can attack this pawn, and this rook is very uncoordinated here in the center of the board. So the rook has nothing better to do than drop back to e8, and after bishop takes, the rook might be happy to attack these two pieces. But actually after d6, the rook has to go back, because after h6, white is winning. The rook has to go back. And now the knight gets into the game, protecting this pawn so there's no check. And if king takes, rook takes, this bishop suddenly highlights that the rook is still bad. Wherever the rook goes, it's bad. And throughout this whole sequence, black was not able to make maximum use of his rook. And so, therefore, in this position, even though it might be super tempting to take back here and it's the natural move, the better move is actually e4, threatening immediately to attack the king and to take the pawn. So pawn takes is forced. And after rook takes, black is immediately threatening rook e3 with check and attack on the pawn. And if now white would retake this pawn, black is simply winning here. Check, the king has to react. And now after f takes, there's not much that white can do. If, for example, the knight moves here, rook h3 immediately creates the threat of taking the knight. And where can the knight go? If the knight goes here, it can be taken by the bishop. The knight suddenly doesn't have any square. If the knight goes here, we have rook takes, king takes, and black wins. And why do suddenly all these tactics work in black's favor? The reason is that in this position here, the rook has gained maximum activity. It coordinates well with the bishop, which is super protected here. It attacks all kinds of pieces. Whereas suddenly in this position, it's the white knight, which has remained on the side of the board, and the bishop and the king, which seem uncoordinated. And that's the whole point. When you are an exchange up, you want to make sure that you use your rook to the maximum of its ability. And e4 does exactly that. And if in this position knight g4, attempting to activate the knight, black has, again, a very good position of the rook, can play rook f4 immediately, giving a threat, so that after a takes g, we have rook f3, and let's say the king moves here. Again, we have f takes, and the black rook is simply very, very active here, whereas those pieces are not coordinated and inactive. And after rook e2, trying to block the rook, we can now take. So black never had a chance to take, so we could actually take a little bit later. And now black already has all kinds of threats. I don't know if if, for example, d6, black just wins this pawn, so that's not a plan. If the king moves somewhere else, we have rook f3, a double attack. So just to illustrate a little bit what threats are in this position. If king to d2, the king moves too far away from what's happening here on the king side. So now even rook takes works because black is now not in time to stop this pawn. And so in this position, what we can learn is if you can activate your rook, do so as soon as possible. So if there is some kind of move which forcibly activates your rook, calculate if it's possible for white to take here or to do any other move, and in this position it's not, because as we have seen in this position here, black does not lose a pawn and gets the activity for the rook and will win back this pawn. Okay, let's have a look at this position here. Last position in this video, white to move. Considers to take the knight here. What might be a better move in this position? And why is e takes f not such a good idea? Okay, this is a very this is a theory position from the Semi-Slav, and the point is that after e takes, d takes, e4 hitting the rook, queen hitting the rook, and queen takes c3, which is a little bit better than in this position here, b takes. The point is that white is simply a pawn down without any compensation. There's no compensation that white has in this position. And the theory we move is, instead of taking here, to play knight takes b5. Because after a takes, and now e takes, the pawns are 6 pawns against 5 pawns, but white can now play against all these weaknesses and will win back a pawn. And the pawn structure, not only are these pawns weak and white will win back one pawn, but the king is also permanently in the center. So in this position, white can simply castle. And now let's have a look at a few moves. Queen b6, attempting to protect all these weaknesses. We can just put more pressure on the weaknesses. And there's already some tactical opportunities at work, because black can not play e5 here, because knight takes, and the queen is hitting the king and the rook. So black's better chance is to play knight c5. And again, we are hitting the rook. And now white hits the queen and the rook. And all of this is possible because, I mean, let's have a look at this position here. Black's pieces are just all uncoordinated. The king is in the middle, the pawns are weak, the pieces don't coordinate, whereas, have a look, white's pieces coordinate nicely with each other. Everybody protects everybody. They are very active plans, checks here, double attacks, etc., etc. So this would have been much better for white to play knight takes b5. Okay, I hope you learned a lot. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to this channel so you get an update from YouTube when new videos are available. Thanks a lot for watching.